Okay, so in this section we're going to look at 2 and 4 mean smoothing, which is slightly different from the 3 mean smoothing because you're obviously using 4 points instead of just 2. So to do this, there's actually 2 stages that you need to be aware of. The first stage is just taking the average as normal, and the second stage is actually taking centering the averages that you've just taken. So I'll show you how that works. So if we take the first 4 here, so this is asking us to do a 4 mean smoothed set of this data. So if we take the first 4 numbers there, that creates an average between autumn and winter, and this is critical. Okay, so whereas normally the averages would line up perfectly with a time period, so here the green one has lined up with hours number 4. Okay, if we look at this one, we have seasons, summer, autumn, winter, spring. If we average these 4 out, the average actually lines up with neither of them. It's somewhere in the middle of autumn and winter. So this creates a bit of a problem that we have to solve using the process called centering. So what we do next is take another average here and creates an averaged bit of data in this box. And then what we do finally is average the 2 of those out to make the final one. They call that centering. And what that does is it then lines it up with the original winter time period. So when you're doing your graph, when winter was here, okay, just put summer in there, and spring. So the data point was there. It will then line up either above or below that data point. Okay, and you can shift it to its new position, wherever it is, if it's going to go up or down. So, let's do the CAS calculator for that. I'm just going to pause this here for you guys to have a chance to do it. Okay, so the average for the first 4 comes out at 23.25. Then the average for the second lot comes as 24.25. And then if we average those 2, we get 23.75 for the first centered data point. Okay, so 23.75, and that's from 23.25, and in the green here 4.25. Okay, so now that's been centered, we would be able to move the winter lines, the winter data point. So winter was at 19, and now it will be up at 23.75. Okay, so it's moved up slightly in value. Okay, and that effect, if we move these across, so we do them for multiple data points, will smooth out the graph, removing the peaks and the troughs. This also works for 2 mean smoothing. So if we were to, well, first of all, I'll just finish off the 4 mean data values. So you have a go at this now, and I'll write the values in if I just pause. Okay, so these are the average points before centering, and now we'll center the rest of them by taking the average of them in pairs like this. Okay, so have a go at this now. Okay, so now we've done those 4, we'll finally just wrap this up. So you can see that with the centering and the 4 points, you can see how much shorter the line gets. So we used to have data values for summer and autumn at the beginning of the 2-year period, and then at the end of the 2-year period we have data points for winter and spring. We no longer have any data for those, so they can be crossed out, and similar on the right. So this is very much like 3 and 5 mean smoothing, but with even number of points. So there's 2 stages. You've got your first stage of averaging and your centering stage afterwards. Check my other video for worked examples of a VCE question.